Could a medical condition be mistaken for child abuse? A Southeast Georgia family believes that's what happened to them. After spending thousands of dollars on fertility treatments, they found out that they were pregnant with twins. But just months after they were born, the twins and their older sister, who you see right here, were ripped from their arms. Tonight, as they fight to regain custody, a First Coast News investigation into why they were taken and the child abuse doctor at the center of this case.
So we've been married 18 years. We always knew we wanted a big family.
Corey and Diana Sullivan started dating in 8th grade. Their desire to start a family came with years of infertility challenges.
We went through IVF and we got pregnant with Arabella. Our first round, which was amazing. It was costly. I think that round cost us approximately like $30,000.
After having their first child 4 years ago, they went through the IVF process all over again. And with the last 2 embryos, got pregnant with Christian and Amelia.
We had found out at around 29 weeks that she was diagnosed with severe intrauterine growth restriction.
The twins were born prematurely last July when Diana was 34 weeks pregnant. Her son weighed 5 pounds, her daughter just over 3 pounds. Amelia spent 42 days in the NICU. 7 weeks after she was discharged, their whole world changed.
I changed her after the feeding, and as I was changing her, I noticed that her leg was a little swollen. So I woke mom up and said, look, you know, I don't like that her leg is swollen. I think we should take her to the hospital.
They took their 3-month-old daughter to the closest hospital in Camden County.
They told us she had a broken femur, which was shocking to us.
Amelia was rushed to Wolfson Children's Hospital in Jacksonville for more extensive testing. It revealed unexplained rib fractures and broken bones in various stages of healing.
The last report I read said 22.
22 broken bones.
In an 8-pound baby.
The Sullivans say they were questioned by Dr. Barbara Knox. She's a board-certified specialist in child abuse pediatrics at UF Health and listed online as an expert with the First Coast Child Protection Team. The Sullivans say she told them that their daughter had a grade 3 liver laceration.
She looked at me and said, in my 30 years of experience, the only way for a child to obtain this injury is for her to be punched repeatedly in the abdomen, or she was drop kicked across the room. I said, she's 8 pounds. Wouldn't we see any type of physical marks on her body? Wouldn't she act like she's in pain? And she just kept saying no.
The couple says after being questioned by Dr. Knox, they had all 3 of their children removed from their custody.
They came and literally stripped poor Amelia out of my wife's arms while she was breastfeeding her and took our children from us.
Diana is not facing any charges, but in December, her husband was arrested and charged with aggravated battery and cruelty to a child.
Did you abuse your daughter?
Absolutely not.
5 months after Corey Sullivan's arrest, he still has not been indicted.
Well, I've missed my baby's first Christmas. I've missed my baby's first Easter. In a few months, I'll miss their first birthday.
The Georgia Bureau of Investigation says it completed its investigation and the case is now in the hands of the District Attorney's Office in Brunswick. Our requests for an interview were declined.
Do you think your daughter was abused?
Absolutely not.
The Sullivans believe their daughter's broken bones can be explained by genetic problems that started in utero. They had geneticist Dr. Anthony Persick review all of Amelia's records. According to his report, she was severely malnourished in the womb and that stunted her growth. He also noted bone demineralization. He wrote that the softness of her bones would allow for fractures to happen more easily without excessive force.
His exact explanation was even normal handling could have caused a rib fracture.
Geneticist Dr. Paldeep Atwal says Diana has since been diagnosed with a genetic connective tissue disorder called Ehlers-Danlos syndrome.
We know that Ehlers-Danlos can increase your fracture risk and reduce bone mineral density.
What have you come to find out?
I found out that the child abuse pediatrician that led this investigation has a very questionable history of diagnosing these children.
When we found out that she had got hired in Jacksonville, it made us sick.
Brenna Siebold is one of
100%.
several families who have spoken out against Dr. Knox after being investigated for child abuse.
It's been incredibly traumatic.
She and her husband were questioned by Dr. Knox about bruises on their baby when they took him to the ER for a fever in 2018.
It took 3 months to get finally the all clear. The field of child abuse pediatrics needs to be re-looked at, and it needs to be reformatted. It's just, we've given way too much power to these people.
There's no doubt that some of the cases she identified as abuse were abused.
Dee Hall is co-founder of Wisconsin Watch. The nonpartisan investigative nonprofit news outlet has done extensive reporting on Dr. Knox. Wisconsin Watch shared the stories of 7 families, including the Siebolds, who faced child abuse investigations triggered by Dr. Knox over 7 years. Allegations it reported were later rejected by other doctors, police, and child welfare officials.
Things that could be attributed to numerous other causes in the cases that we examined attributed to child abuse exclusively.
In 2019, Dr. Knox was placed on paid administrative leave by the University of Wisconsin, according to this letter obtained by Wisconsin Watch. The letter says it was based on concerns about timely completion of her work and possible intimidation of internal and external colleagues. In a statement to First Coast News, UW Health said Dr. Knox resigned before an investigation was completed. She was then hired in Alaska to lead a statewide child abuse clinic, where she worked for 2.5 years before getting hired by the University of Florida in 2022.
In Alaska, similar allegations emerged that she was bullying and belittling staff, trying to, coerce them into labeling children as abused in cases where the other staff members did not feel that was the case.
We reached out to Dr. Knox multiple times but did not get a response. UF Health Jacksonville declined our interview request but stands behind her and says she's helped make the community a safer place. A spokesman said due to privacy laws, they cannot comment specifically on these allegations, but no decisions are made by any one person nor made lightly. In general, allegations of child abuse do not proceed to court unless law enforcement and prosecutors, in consultation with child protection officials, determine the evidence is strong and compelling. When medical evidence is used, review occurs at multiple levels. The statement goes on to say Dr. Knox's expertise in her field is well established, as are her positive contributions on behalf of children. While the Sullivans go through the court process fighting to regain custody of all 3 of their children, they hope genetic testing will show Amelia has metabolic bone disease.
Try to keep myself going, thinking that for sure the truth is going to come to light and what's right is going to happen.
I can't believe that there's this much power in the state's hands.
Now, Wilson Children's Hospital says its employees are required by law to report suspected child abuse to DCF, which it did, and then DCF investigates. Dr. Knox is not employed by Wilson. She's a member of the UF Child Protection Team, to which DCF refers cases. We have reached out to the agencies involved in Florida and Georgia in this case. All declined to comment on camera, citing privacy laws. But you can read their full statements and UF Health's in this story on firstcoastnews.com. And we will continue to follow this case closely.